Coming up, an update on the worst week yet for COVID-19 in the United States, and surprising developments in the Breonna Taylor case. Welcome to WEBN News. I'm Benjamin Levine. We begin with this week's top stories. This week was the United States' worst week yet for coronavirus cases. Over the past 7 days, there were more than 500,000 new cases reported nationwide. Half of U.S. counties have seen case numbers peak over the past month. Fatalities are also increasing in around half of the U.S. states. Officials in parts of the country are backtracking once again, re-implementing restrictions in an attempt to control the spread of COVID-19. There are new and surprising developments in the Breonna Taylor case. The police officer responsible for the fatal shootings is suing Taylor's boyfriend, Kenny Walker, for assault. In a court document filed Thursday, Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly says he's entitled to compensatory damages for the medical treatment, trauma, physical pain, and mental anguish he experienced after the night Taylor died. Walker's lawyer says if his client can be sued for defending himself, then, quote, all lawful gun owners' rights are at risk. This all comes after the highly controversial decision in September not to charge the 3 officers in the Taylor case. The Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court could have its first black female justice on Wednesday. Governor Charlie Baker nominated Associate Justice Kimberly Budd to head the state's highest court. Baker said Budd is a role model for women and people of color, and that she has, quote, given a voice to those who aren't always heard. The governor hopes to confirm Budd before the end of the year. Massachusetts state officials are providing some state workers with $1,800 checks. The money will go to around 17,000 people who lost their jobs during the pandemic but did not qualify for the federal Lost Wages Assistance Program. The bill increases the minimum benefit for any unemployment insurance beneficiary to $100. The increase lasts from August through the first week of September 2021. Over 365,000 people remain unemployed in the state. The 2020 presidential election is less than a week away. Anthony Labruto joins us with an update.
Thanks, Benjamin. With just 4 days until the general election, former Vice President Biden and President Trump have been aggressively campaigning across swing states. President Trump has signaled from the beginning that he will be skeptical if he loses on November 3rd. The president, in Phoenix yesterday, completely shifted away from policy and instead attacked polls showing Biden garnering more early support. Biden has spent his last few days on the campaign trail urging supporters in Florida to accept, quote, science over fiction. With over 1 million ballots cast already in the state, Biden is focusing his narrative on the coronavirus. The virus has hit the state's large elderly population the hardest, and Biden seems to be aiming for their votes with his COVID-19 plan. Regardless of affiliation, we hope our viewing audience has a plan to vote this election and make their voices heard in our democratic processes. For more election coverage, visit our WEBN Live special on November 3rd. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Anthony. On Tuesday, Boston Public Schools announced that all athletics will be suspended for the time being. This comes just 1 week after the city moved all Boston Public Schools to remote learning only. The city is currently seeing around 1,000 new coronavirus cases a day. Officials say when cases are at or below 5% for 2 consecutive weeks, Boston Public Schools will consider starting athletic seasons. New York has added Massachusetts to its coronavirus travel advisory list. On Tuesday, Governor Andrew Cuomo said he, quote, highly discourages non-essential travel between the 2 states. New York, like Massachusetts, has one of the toughest travel advisories, requiring individuals traveling from COVID-19 hotspots to quarantine for 14 days. Unfortunately, both states have seen a rise in COVID cases during October, with New York recording 1,058 new cases on Thursday. After the break, we have an update on the ongoing unrest in Philadelphia. Stay with us.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
2 nights after the fatal police shooting of Walter Walls Jr., Philadelphia remains on high alert. During protests on Wednesday, police found propane tanks, torches, and possible dynamite sticks in a van. It is unclear if anyone has been arrested in connection with the vehicle last night. After several days of unrest, the city instituted a citywide curfew. Body camera footage from moments before Walls' death will be released next Wednesday. More than 9 million people have voted in Texas so far, surpassing all votes cast in the state's 2016 general election. Texas joins Hawaii in surpassing their 2016 voter turnout rates. The state has 38 electoral votes and is considered a possible toss-up state this election. Democratic vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris made 3 stops in the state today, while the Trump campaign hasn't visited since July. Now we go to our international correspondent Kerrigan Knowles with an update on an earthquake that hit the Turkish coast today.
Thanks, Benjamin. An earthquake hit the Turkish coast and the Greek island of Samos on Friday, killing 14 people and injuring hundreds. The force of the shake caused a small tsunami, destroying buildings in Izmir, Turkey's 3rd largest city. Izmir Governor Yavuz Selim Kozgur said at least 70 people were rescued from wrecked buildings. Search and rescue efforts are still underway across the city and the Aegean Sea. Women's rights activists in Poland continue to protest for reproductive rights. Protesters say they are preparing for what will be, quote, the largest protest so far. This follows a week of mass nationwide street demonstrations triggered by the country's abortion restrictions. Poland already had one of Europe's harshest systems, and with the new rules, activists are worried the country is headed for a total ban on abortion. The protest is set to take place this evening in Warsaw. 3 people were stabbed to death on Thursday at the Notre Dame Basilica in Nice, France. This incident comes at a time of heightened tensions in the country over Islam, secularism, and freedom of speech. The suspect was shot while attempting to flee the scene and is now in critical condition. France raised its terror alert level to emergency following the attack. French President Emmanuel Macron said, quote, "We will not give in to terrorism." Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Kerrigan. On Tuesday, Keith Raniere, leader of the sex cult NXIVM, was sentenced to 120 years in prison. Victims say the NXIVM group was kept them as virtual sex prisoners, but Raniere has repeatedly denied these claims. Last year, Raniere was charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, and possession of child pornography. Acting U.S. Attorney Seth Ducharme hopes the sentence will discourage any aspiring cult leaders. 6 people are dead and over 2 million homes and businesses are without power after Hurricane Zeta. The storm made landfall in Louisiana on Wednesday before spreading across multiple states. New Orleans public schools canceled classes today, and around 80% of the city lost power. Officials say Zeta caused damage in New Orleans that takes up to 10 days to repair. Many city employees are working to ensure polling stations will be ready for the November 3rd election. Now, Amog Matthews has our 5-day forecast. What's the Halloween weekend looking like, Amog?
Hello folks, here's your 5-day weather forecast. It's Halloween Saturday. It's going to be sunny, but it will be cold. If you do decide to go trick-or-treating, grab a jacket. We're going to have highs in the 40s and lows in the lower 30s. Sunday, we'll have highs in the upper 50s, but we're going to have cloudy skies and scattered showers throughout the day, so make sure to be prepared with a jacket or umbrella. Monday and Tuesday will both be cloudy with highs in the 40s and lows in the 30s. Wednesday will heat up a bit, but not too much, with a sunny day reaching temperatures in the 50s. Have a good one, Boston. Back to you, Benjamin.
Thanks, Moog. After the break, sports correspondent Sam DeCoste will recap the Dodgers World Series win. We'll be right back.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest.
You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Welcome back to WEBN News. We now go to our sports correspondent Sam DeCoste, who has big news on the World Series. Sam, take it away.
Thanks, Benjamin. The Los Angeles Dodgers are World Series champions. The Dodgers defeated the Tampa Bay Rays in 6 games to win their first World Series title since 1988. However, their championship win didn't come without a twist that was peak 2020. Third baseman Justin Turner was pulled from the game after the team was notified that he tested positive for COVID-19. Turner was immediately quarantined in the locker room heading into the 8th inning. Turner later returned to the field after the game ended to celebrate the championship win with his teammates without wearing a mask or following social distancing guidelines. Turner is now subject to discipline from the league for violating health and safety protocols agreed upon between MLB and the Players Association before the start of the season. MLB plans to investigate the matter and may suspend Turner. With the win, the Dodgers snap a 32-year championship drought. The series closes out a season for the ages, which often hung in the balance due to multiple COVID-19 outbreaks. That's all for the 2020 Major League Baseball season. Back to you, Benjamin.
Thanks, Sam. Now let's head over to our entertainment correspondent, Lily Sexton, for the latest in Hollywood. Lily?
Thanks, Benjamin. Lil Wayne took to Twitter to endorse President Trump and his proposed plan for the black community. The rapper shared a photo of him with the president without a mask, giving a thumbs up. Many criticized Lil Wayne for endorsing him just days before the election, including rapper 50 Cent, saying he would have never taken that picture. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany told reporters that despite reports to the contrary, Lil Wayne's Twitter account had not been hacked in order to post the photo. Scarlett Johansson and Colin Jost have officially tied the knot. The actress and SNL comedian had a small ceremony with immediate family members and loved ones this last weekend. They broke the news using the Meals on Wheels Instagram page, saying their wedding wish was to make a difference in vulnerable adults during this difficult time. If you managed to miss it, Kim Kardashian West turned 40 years old this week. In her Instagram post, she wrote, "I surprised my closest inner circle with a trip to a private island where we could pretend things were normal for just a brief moment in time." You heard right. For the Kardashians, normal is flying to a private island even in a global pandemic. The post quickly became a meme, with everyone taking the caption and posting their own images. Do your civic duty and you might get a cookie from Paul Rudd. This Thursday, the actor handed out blueberry and cream cookies to rain-soaked voters in Brooklyn as they waited to cast their ballots. He wore a mask and all of the cookies were pre-packaged from Milk Bar. Just another reason to go out and cast your vote this weekend. Back to you, Benjamin.
Thanks, Lily. Being stuck inside these past few months has left many people feeling isolated, but one Georgia woman made a new friend in her backyard. A food writer named Angela Hansberger opened up a mini restaurant for a chipmunk in her backyard. She sets up small plates of food for the chipmunk she has named after jazz composer Thelonious Monk. Thelonious eats everything from almond tacos to nut burgers at a tiny table for one. Hansberger says she's learned a lot about chipmunk diets and shares her dishes on Instagram. The mini rodent restaurant has brought visitors to social media lots of joy during these difficult times. That's all for tonight. Thank you for watching WEBN News. For more, go to our website, WEBN.TV, or check us out on YouTube. I'm Benjamin Levine. Have a good night.